Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. We hope your day has been wonderful. We hope that you've been able to keep safe. Well, today we've got a bit of a celebration going to happen. 20 years this month, our guest left the Jehovah's Witnesses. What's Grant's life been like? What's he doing now? What's he done? Well, we're going to find out some of the things that Grant has been able to do in his life and enjoying it, from what I understand. So let's see if I've read that one right. Good morning, Grant.
Good
Good
morning,
evening, I should
good
say.
evening to you. Yes, we're it's 7 o'clock here.
7 o'clock. So tell us, whereabouts are you in the UK?
I'm down in Devon in an area called the South Hams. Hams is an old English word, hamlet, villages. So it's a series of villages along the south coast. Inevitably, one or two of them, such as the one where I live, has grown into a town.
Right.
But we're right on the coast, and the second most expensive houses are about 5 kilometres up the coast here. I mean, outside of London, and we're talking million, 2 million, 15 million, just
Yeah.
stupid prices.
I thought our prices here were going crazy, but
Yeah, no, it's a lovely place, well sought after, and idyllic. I love it here.
great. We've heard that name of that place before on a live stream.
Oh, Stuart,
He doesn't live too far away from you, does he?
about two, three, four streets away.
4 streets away.
Yes, yeah,
I remember him
yeah.
telling us. But anyway, back to you. We'll
Yeah.
leave Stuart out of this one, even though you're good mates and you've done a few things on YouTube with him and other things.
Yes, yes.
So tell us a little bit about your history. How did you get into the J Dubs?
Okay, well, I was about 8, and I didn't. I only learnt this from my mother afterwards because I could have been out or at school or something. But she was called on by an elderly witness,
Yep.
and he spoke. And then my father spoke to him that evening because he came back, but he was not. He was not intellectually sort of up to the job. So he said, "I'm going to send my son round, like sort of, really." And great hair, thanks. And so this guy turned up, and he was a university graduate, and he was smart. He was very,
Mhm.
very good. And in actual fact, he is now a big wheel in the hospital liaison committee in the UK. He's
Oh, okay.
central,
Yep.
yeah. You can find him in mentioned in all sorts of medical papers, putting his opinions in and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, he brought round my parents, so they took quite a while. I think my dad was studying for 6 years. He was an extremely well read man. He had read the Torah. He had read the Bible already of his own volition. He had read various other religious texts, and he was searching. And a very, very curious man, and he latched onto it, and that, of course, it was fed. And it burgeoned into the extent where he said, right, yeah, I can't see any reason why I can't dedicate. And then this same guy, he too, he then studied with me and my older sister, but she never, she was a bit of a family rebel anyway.
Okay.
So she sort of studied, believed it, but left the family, and she went to live in London. And we live just north of London in what's an area called the Home Counties. That is the counties which are dotted around London, like Kent and Berkshire and Essex and Hertfordshire. And then I got baptised around 16.
So,
That's really it. That's how I
yep,
came in.
16. How long did you stay for?
Um, I st- Physically, I stayed in until I was 40, 42. Yeah, 42, I think, when they chucked me out.
Oh, that's right,
And
yeah. So
yeah,
you were in there for what, 20, 26 years or so?
31,
Oh,
31
31.
years, I think. 31
31.
years.
Yep.
Then I spent until December 2017. I was POMI. I was physically out, but mentally in. I still believed it. I
Yeah.
had already decided, because of the trauma I went through in what was a disgrace, really, of a judicial. I decided that come what may, I would never go back. I would take my chances. I would die at Armageddon rather than it was too sickening for me. So I had decided at that point that I would never go back.
Do you regret that decision?
No, I never regretted it, not once. During
I
all
can
that
tell
time,
you're so unhappy.
I never once, even though I was thinking, I mean, I literally used to go to, there was a period where I used to go to bed and think, was that my last day? Is Armageddon tomorrow? Because I'm going to be destroyed. So, do you know what I mean? It was. You're under that. You're living under that. I lived under that for 17 years, from the 16 years from when I was disfellowshipped until the point where I woke up. And I woke up in a second. It wasn't a drawn out process, because there were certain doubts which had never been successfully confounded. And then I hit upon one thing and I thought, oh my God, it's just another American religion I've been in. And it was instant. It was just instant. Something clicked immediately, a switch. It was quite magical in that respect. I didn't have to keep studying and keep learning. And no, it was there. It was glaring.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So what was the first thing you did when you got out? Can you remember that?
Well, gosh, I was offered a job abroad. I had been doing web design in the last company I worked for. I went in there actually to market their software and write the manuals, etc. But they said, oh, we need a website. So I said, I'll do it. So I did it. I'd never done one before, so I thought, how hard can it be? So I learned HTML and I could do graphics anyway, because I'm a graphic designer. But I just did their website, and then somebody I knew in Spain, in the Canary Islands, said, could you come here for a few months? And I said,
oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So I went to the Canary Islands, and I used to do flitting from England because I used to see my kids regularly. So I was flights, very, very often back to see my kids. And I would bring them back with me, and they would stay with me for a few weeks. So it was rather a nice holiday for them. And then, I became a web designer for years. In fact, that was really almost the last job I did until I stopped work about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Database management as well. I used to do a lot of database management.
Yep. You mentioned you got kids.
Yes.
How did they come? Well, we know how kids are born and how they're conceived.
Yes.
How did they come about? Did you meet a wife in the J-Dubs, or what's the story there?
Yeah, I met a wife in the J-Dubs, and we had 6 kids, and there probably
6 kids.
Yeah, it would have been 7, but I got dizzy and fell off.
Oh,
and,
okay.
So we had six kids and no telly. You know how it is.
No, I've never really not had a telly, so
a television. So I had 6 kids, 3 boys, 3 girls.
Oh, that nice even number.
It was, and they were coming along, and I can't say too much because it does involve someone else's story, but there was an elder involved in this whole thing of my disfellowshipping and a scandal. And the kids had seen it, and they knew that he had lied about his part in it. And when they were of an age, they just said, not for me, not for me, not for me. And all 6 of them came out. One of them went to university straight away from leaving school. And he is now he's a programmer. He's a contractor. He works for various companies like McLaren and Nokia and Microsoft on a contractual basis.
No name dropping here.
Yeah, why not? Really proud of him. It's unbelievable. And my 2 daughters then got married, started a family, and then both got degrees.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One, it works in a university. She does admin, and the other is a dental therapist.
Cool.
So those 2, yeah. So they've all done well for themselves out of it, you know.
Well, let's have a look at some of the photos that you shared with me, because some of them have a little bit to do with your children. So we'll just add this one. Now, that's not one of your children, is it?
No, that's me.
Oh, that's you. How
That's
old were
me.
you there?
I don't know. 18 months.
Okay.
18 months probably. Yeah,
Yep.
between 18 months.
Yep. Now let's come forward a few years.
Yeah, I remember that photo being taken. I was 19. I looked very young because I was a late developer. I think I was still waiting for my voice to break or something. Just about to go, just about to go through puberty there. No, I was It was 19, and that was in my girlfriend's, who I then married. So
Oh, okay. Yep.
my ex-wife's house or garden, or her mother's garden. Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
How long
And
did
I
you stay
love those
married for?
shoes.
You love those shoes.
23 years, I think I was
20.
married.
Why do you love these shoes? Let's just bring them up.
They
You
were
can't see them.
They were so bloody comfortable. They really
Oh,
were
okay.
comfortable.
Yeah.
I remember how comfortable they were today. And when they eventually went home, and they were no longer any good, I was gutted.
Oh, no. How dare they fall a
Yeah.
bit. And who are these happy people?
That's my dad and my mum.
Your dad and your mum.
That's my mum and dad, yes. That was, I think that was not long after they met, if I remember rightly. I can't remember. I'm unlikely to get information about it either, unless another relative on their side can remember, because my father is quite deeply into dementia now.
Oh, that's a shame.
And my mother died from the same thing last June during lockdown. So it's been a bad year in that respect. And my dad, extraordinarily bright man, great reader, great writer, and now he's like an 8-year-old. It's tragic. It's just a cruel disease.
Yeah. What's your best memory of your mum and dad together as you were growing up?
I think my best memory, in actual fact, was that they always... Well, I'll give you two good memories. One is that they always took us on a good holiday.
Oh, okay.
My dad was continually inquisitive. And a holiday was not a holiday unless he said, I think there's a cave down there. We're going to, I don't think anyone's been on this beach. Let's go right down to the end and see. And everything was a front. He had a frontier spirit, you know, everything was a challenge. So it was great. And, but the second thing I have to mention is that they refused to shun me at all. Not at all. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. And in fact, they went... Before I married Sharon, who's downstairs watching, I think.
So just before you carry on, we've got a photo coming up shortly, but who is Sharon?
Sharon's my wife. Yes.
So you divorced your first one?
Yes. I'm afraid the whole situation, yes, it resulted in divorce. But anyway, this, they never shunned me, and they took me and my wife, who was then my girlfriend, to the Caribbean with them.
Oh, really?
Yes, and it was a terrible risk when you think about it. I
Well, from a JW viewpoint, anyway.
Well, the elders would have cancelled all leave, I think.
Okay, so let's just... All right.
Okay.
Who are you kidnapping?
I got into acting.
Oh, you got into acting. Okay.
Yeah, I got into acting, and I played a part in California Suite, which is a play by Neil Simon. There was a film of it it had Maggie Smith and Michael Caine in it, and of some very famous actors. And basically, I'm a man who's got a drunk prostitute in his bed who's passed out, and his wife has just landed, and is in hotel reception, and I can't wake her up. And yes, that was it. That was the first piece of real acting I did. I played this part of this guy who had this prostitute in bed, this sex worker.
What was it like? That's been your first part. What was it like? Because if you've been to J Dubs and you mention the word prostitute, watch out.
Yes. Well, obviously, I was well out by then. I mean, it was as recently as well. I came back to England about 10 years ago, and it's actually 10 years ago this month that I met Sharon. In actual fact, so it's
okay.
Yeah.
So this month has several sort of celebrationary moments.
It does.
In your life.
I never thought of both of those together. Yes. In fact, 4 days ago, I think Sharon said, "Oh, we should have celebrated it," but. Anyway, after I met Sharon, I said, I fancy acting. So she's a theatre group, and they took me in, and I auditioned for the next production, and they said, "Great, can you play this part?" So I said yes. That would have been in 2013, something like that, and I had this part, and I had already done a lot of performing in when I was in the Canary Islands because. I used to play in a band, and I sometimes sang in the band and play and all that. So it didn't bother me. I was never nervous. But it was great. Yes, I really liked it, and people recognise you, and it's quite nice when they say, "Oh, I saw you."
Very good. Oh, we have some more here. Is this another one of the productions you were part of? Or?
Yeah, that was the following year. They had this production called Return to the Forbidden Planet, which is what's called a jukebox musical, and it's based on the Tempest by Shakespeare. And what it does is it basically uses old charts songs as the songs, and they're woven into the storyline, like if you see the young lady sitting down in the green, she tries to sort of flirt with me and everything, so I burst into Young Girl, the song Young Girl. Okay. So it was all,
well, keep singing.
Yeah. It's all chiseled. Oh, my mouth is too dry. It's all shoehorned in, But that was good. I enjoyed that very much.
Yeah. How many were in that production?
About 40.
On the cast?
There was about 40 all, and 40 staff as well. I mean, it is massive production. It is surprising. There's a full band. There's a huge lighting gantry, sound gantry. Everything. It's really extremely involved and computer operated, and everything is magnificent.
Yeah, a bit different from the old days when they didn't have computers.
No. Right. Okay,
tell us about this. Where are you?
Where am I? I'm wearing the blue trousers there with the yellow watch.
Blue trousers. Oh, yep.
On the extreme right. Okay. What happened was that I then was put on the committee of this theatre group, and they were looking for something to perform, and we were looking at some of these musicals, and I said, I'll give it a go. And they said, yeah, right, all right. And so I wrote it, and it took me about 4 or 5 months, and I wrote 18 songs. And I took it, and they said, actually, this is really, really very funny and rather good. So if you zoom out again of that photo, if you can zoom it out. Yep. Right, if you look at the guy on the extreme left, on the other side of me, or the extreme right, him. Yeah. He was an elder.
Oh, was he?
Yes, he was an elder.
Did you lead him astray or something?
No. We got disfellowshipped at the same time. Quite unrelated, different parts of the country.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thanks. Can you pass it to me there? Lovely. It's all right. I'm getting my wife just came in.
Hey, Sharon.
And I said to him, look, I've got this thing. Do you want to do half the lyrics? Because he had introduced me to comedy writing already. I'd already been writing comedy for the BBC and ITV. And he introduced me because he too was writing comedy. He was more extensive than I am. He was writing comedy for German comedians as well, because at the time even now, there's jokes about their sense of humor, and they employed British writers to write comedy for them, and that is a fact. So he is now Pomey. He will not hear a word against the truth at all. He's been out as long as I have, but he still believes it. And I tackled him once, and I said, "Oh, look," and he just threw it back on my. You don't listen to the Evil Slave class, and it, you know, I realised then I was never going to change him.
Yeah,
So,
everybody has their journey.
yes, yeah, but he's since my activism, and he's found out about it. He knows that I do because he knows my channel, and he's not. The relationship is called, but I've known him since I was 17, and it's our children grew up together, and it's a real shame. But his best
Yeah.
friend, you know.
Oh, well, these things happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in the newspaper.
Yes. Yeah. This was before it came out. The musical comedy, Pieces of After Eight. I don't know whether you know After Eight mints. Have you heard of them? Do you have them in New Zealand?
Maybe.
All right.
I never used to like mint anyway, so.
Well, they're an after dinner chocolate, but they're wafer thin, and they've got a mint cream inside them.
Okay.
And that's basically it. If you look at the four people in that photo on the left hand side, the one at the back there, that's my son.
This one here?
Yes, he auditioned and he got the part.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Now the guy on the extreme left, he's now appearing in films. He's really. And the girl on the right, she was a professional ballet dancer. I had a terrific cast to work with. I did. It was a wonderful experience. I recorded all the music myself. I wrote all the music myself. Half the lyrics I did with this John, who's a great lyricist. I mean, he is really very good, very clever, very slick.
Yeah.
And we wrote this musical. I wrote the lyrics, some of the best lyrics are his, and I say that ungrudgingly.
Why is ungrudgingly?
Well, I mean, nobody would like to say that in a co-production someone did better than you. But when it comes to, but then what I would do is basically I would write a verse, write a chorus, write a verse, and think this needs a middle eight and another verse. So I'd go, John, and he would turn it back, and I'd say that is smack on, you know, and he would finish what I was too lazy to do myself.
Oh, well, good teamwork.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. The whole of this musical, by the way, is on YouTube. I own the rights to it, so I uploaded it to YouTube. So if you look for Pieces of After Eight, not Pieces of Eight, Pieces of After Eight musical, parts 1 and 2 are up there.
Okay, we might get the link and put it in the description later on.
Okay.
So that people can have a look at it. Another production?
No, it's the same one. That's Pieces of After Eight. Yeah, if you look, my son is there again, standing next to the woman, the ballet dancer in, that's it, in black
This
there.
guy here?
That's Jordan, yeah, that's my lad. Yeah. Yeah,
You can hear the fondness when you talk about your children.
Oh, he's a splendid, he's just a great human being. He's nice, he's a decent person, you know. He really is. He's absolutely harmless. People really like him. He's extremely funny as well. Smart, funny. Yeah, well loved.
Good. All right, we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's my wife. That is, yes.
That is Sharon.
That is Sharon. That's before we were married. I think about 4 or 5 years ago, we took my son and his girlfriend out for Christmas dinner in a restaurant, and I took this photo. We were waiting for our table to be ready, and I took this photo of her.
Great. Where did you meet Sharon originally?
Well, I met her online.
Oh, okay.
Dating. Well, dating. Yes, we'll say it's a dating site. But I met her online, and she lived about 20 miles from where I was sofa surfing, actually. And we agreed to have coffee in a town halfway between Kingsbridge, which is where I live, and Plymouth. And we had coffee, and shall we do this again? Yes. And I had this signature dish at the time, which was Venezuelan actually, and it's arepas. And so I said, "Would you like me to make some arepas of this meal?" So she said, "Yes." So I went round and made her dinner, and I haven't been home since.
Okay.
That's it. I've been here pretty much ever since. Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Yes. Yeah. Not quite that bad, but yes, pretty
Yep.
much. That was it.
Oh, well done. That doesn't
Yeah.
look like 10 years ago.
No, that was 3 years ago. 3 years ago,
Tell me
last
the story
April.
behind that picture.
Ah, it's lovely, isn't it?
It is.
That's in the island of Cyprus. That's in the Mediterranean. An island in the Mediterranean. It's Greek and Turkish. The Turkish own the north, and there's a demilitarized zone in the middle.
Right.
It doesn't sound that romantic, but it is a wonderful place to go on holiday. What happened was I proposed and we said yes, and I said, look, you've got family. I've got family, I've got kids, you've got kids, I've got people who may come from my family. And I said, wouldn't it be easy if we just went over, got married, and then just you and me? Because I always feel that also if you do it abroad and you say, oh, I'm going abroad, you put a terrible financial burden on people to,
Yeah.
to trump up that sort of money. So, yeah, we went abroad to Cyprus, and we stayed in a hotel and we went round the island. It's magnificent. The history, it's got this Greek history of mosaics which have been uncovered on a farm, which are like 800, 900 years old. Try 1900 years old, just really old mosaics. Beautiful, beautiful place.
So that is that a wedding photo then? I take it.
That is the wedding photo. There we are signing the certificate.
Yeah, I just noticed you don't have a flower on now. You don't walk around normally with a flower on the
No, no,
jacket.
no, no. I did once. I got beat up for it, so I don't do it anymore.
Oh, really? Oh,
No, I
okay.
didn't. No. Yeah, that's my middle daughter, and that's my
Daughter.
granddaughter with her.
Okay.
That was about, what would that be? That would be 2018. That would be about June 2018 when my daughter graduated in dental therapy. And
Right.
there she is. There she is at the ceremony. I took a picture of her and my granddaughter, who's now 15. Yeah, she's 15 now. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, we'll just go back a little bit. Sorry, we're going in and out. It's the only way to get
It's
these
all right.
photos up. Are those your grandchildren?
They're 6 of my grandchildren. I've got 8 grandchildren.
Oh, you got 8.
Yes, yeah. The ones in the two corners. There's Robin again. You see her up in the corner by
This
the
one here?
candelabra. Yes.
Yep.
And her brother is in the opposite corner.
Down
on
here?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the other, what we got there? Hang on. I only recognise 2 kids. I think there may be some visitors. The other 2 are Phoebe and not Phoebe and Alara. Oh my goodness,
You've forgotten your
I
grandchildren's
have
name.
forgotten my grandchildren's name. Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
I've got 8. I've got
You got
Elegy and Alexander, but they're not featured in this picture.
Yeah.
Eva.
So was that a birthday party or what sort of party?
It could have been No, it wasn't a birthday party. It was just a summertime get together. A summertime get together. That.
And who's that young fella?
Yeah, that looks like me, doesn't it?
It does. Why wear a Jehovah's Witness?
Proclaimers of global genocide.
Why wear that?
It's irony, isn't it? Jehovah's
Yeah.
Witness proclaimers of global genocide. For the irony, that's it. That's the only excuse I can
Okay.
make. That's
Yeah.
it. I rest my case, Your Honour.
I don't know if we've got any more photos. Oh, come back here. No, that's the last one.
Right.
So, what made you get into doing all the writing and the scripting? Because you mentioned some names that you had worked for. Was it BBC?
Yeah, and ITV.
ITV, yep.
Well, this John I told you about earlier, who wrote half the lyrics, I known him for years, but he happened to live in a place called Crawley, which is next to Gatwick. I mean, within 3 or 4 miles of Gatwick. And so if I needed to fly out, if I wanted to fly with my family to Spain or something, we would catch a flight from Gatwick, and instead of paying parking fees, I would go round his house and he would drive us there, and he'd park my car outside his house.
Yeah.
And then one day he came back and he said, I've been writing for television. I said, really? So he said, yeah. He said, I think you'd be good at it. Have a go. So I said, but don't you have to be employed? He said, no, don't. Get the name of the producer,
Yeah.
write down some stuff and send it to them. So I looked in the Radio Times and I found a comedy show, which I thought, I'll have a go at that. I sat down, I wrote, I think I wrote 7 sketches, and then about a week later I got a cheque in the post. And
Was
then
that expected?
No, I didn't know what was going to happen. I got a cheque in the post, and they took 2, and then 10 days later they were on the television, and there's my name going up in the credits. Who knew? I mean, who knew it was that simple? So then I submitted more to different people, and then I started moving into situation comedy. And I actually became good friends and a correspondent with a man called John Sullivan, who wrote a series in Britain called Only Fools and Horses.
I've heard of that one before.
Which is extremely famous. It is incredible.
It is.
Anyway, he was very keen on one comedy I wrote and was trying to plug it for my behalf to the BBC. Take this comedy, it worked, this, that and the other. You can make... And he actually was very, very good. And then he said, look, I'm starting up my own production company. My time will be consumed, and so I'll have less time for this. And that was it. And he died not long after. I don't think the two were related, but, then I moved into drama, writing drama. I thought, I'll have a go at drama. And I wrote a script, 2 scripts, but I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't know. So they sat in a drawer. And then John phoned me up. He said, did you know London Weekend Television, which a big network at the time. They've been consumed by Granada Media now. But I got he said, they want drama writers for a writers' competition, but you mustn't be published as a drama writer. I said, great, I'll have a crack at that. So I sent off this script, but I didn't think anything of it. Again, I just thought, yeah, all right,
Yeah.
There'll be millions, and I got a phone call at work. They had phoned home, and my ex-wife had given them my work number, and they phoned me at work, and I so didn't expect it. I thought it was a salesman from London Weekend Television. Yeah, what do you want then? And I was quite short with him because I thought he was a consultant trying to sell me services. And he said, I'm from London Weekend Television. Oh, really? Oh. And I was sort of melting then. And I was shortlisted out of over 2,000 people. I was in the final
really?
8.
Yeah.
And we had writers, and we had to go up there, expenses paid. And we had writers, famous writers, like, I don't know whether you've heard of Life on Mars. Okay, it's a very famous British series, and they did sit in the US. I think it could have been on BBC America, but Life on Mars, and he was one of our teachers, and there were some very famous teachers at the time who were writing big stuff, and I came second runner up in the end. I didn't get the prize, but it was very encouraging. Then I went through this thing with the judicial and the divorce, and I dropped it. But I did write 15-minute shorts for radio.
Okay.
They were published.
Yep.
And that really is it. Yes, I've written a thing. I've written this.
I'll just put it on full screen so we can see it. Tell us a little bit about it.
Right. Basically, during lockdown, I thought I'd write a play. And so I sat down and I wrote this play, which is a quintet. It's 5 plays, separate, taking place in different countries at different times. But they all have this reference point to a hotel. And the final play takes place in this hotel. and it refers itself back to the other plays. And I thought, I will try and sell this. So I approached two societies, two theatre groups, and I said, what do you think? And one of them said, yeah, we'll do this. We love this. It's a comedy. We'll do this. So I sold it to them, and it was due for production last week. And then they phoned me up and they said, because I was going up to see the last performance, because I had a small play on here in Kingsbridge, which was cancelled due to COVID, and then the other one was cancelled due to COVID. So that was two plays cancelled. But yes, so I'm really quite optimistic about this play here. I think it's a good play. I know that I'm going to say that because I wrote it. Listen, if I'm prepared to admit that John wrote better lyrics than me, I'm prepared to say that this is a good play. All right.
Well, there you go. You got to be able to talk yourself up. So, So, are they going to be replayed at some future time? Or?
Oh, yes. Both of them will. In actual fact, the actors I had for the play which was going here, which is a play, it's not long, it's 12 minutes long, it's a short play. Yeah. They're on sort of standby, and I've asked them, could they have a quick look every now and again to be match ready? And it may go in next May, June, when circumstances permit. The other one will be next November. The big one, which I got paid real money for, that will be put on next November. Again, assuming, they're not going to drop that. They've paid me for the scripts and stuff, so they're going to have to go ahead or lose the money. They won't get a refund, obviously, because that was circumstances beyond my control.
That's right.
So yeah. So that's where I am currently.
What are some of the things you're working on for the future?
I am working on a very 11-minute walkthrough of the history of Watchtower. And what it does is it's a 3D animated one that goes through the years like stepping stones almost, or like up a ladder. And each year it stops and then produces facts about that year. Like this is a script. I'll find a very short one. 1922 at Cedar Point, Ohio, Rutherford heads an 8-day convention entitled "Advertise the Kingdom," etc. So it will summarise it in the panel, but I will give a lengthier description of what went on. And in some cases, there is an additional graphic or an additional thing which I'm developing, object, like I explained earlier before we came on air, pyramids, where for this time of Russell, when pyramids were so essential, so that they appear. But I've made sure that it's not actually it's factual. But I've not knocked the society. I've not said, listen to this rubbish. It speaks for itself. You don't need to do that. If you say in 1925, Rutherford said the judges would return and broadcast out of San Diego, which is incontrovertible. He did say that. You don't need to say, what a twit. You don't need to say that, because it condemns that whole history condemns them without me adding anything in additional. You don't need to. It's there in black and white. You mention what their history is, and assuming you think it's true, reasonably, a witness could not sit there and say, "Yeah, well, that sounds reasonable to me." You can't. It falls on its own merit. It does.
And why did you take this sort of project up? Because you've been out for a while. What's your fascination with it?
Right. I have a condition called I've forgotten it. It's a form of synesthesia, where if I hear a number, or I hear a time, or I hear a date, automatically it appears as a graphic in my head, but in context of every single number there is. And a date, I see it as a ladder of changing directions, like these stepping stones. And someone asked me to explain it, so I did a 3D thing of how the years change it's quite a clear image, and I can't help it. It happens to me every time someone says a number or a date or a time or a month. I see it in relation to the whole of time,
Okay.
instantly,
Yep.
involuntarily. And I thought
Yep.
everyone did it until I found out this is not so. But this time, this date ladder, I actually did it as a 3D object, so you can see where it twists and turns and changes direction during the years, and how it slopes in some parts, and it's totally involuntary. I don't know where it comes from, but it's called something like visual synesthesia, I think it's called. And I did this as a 3D thing to explain it to this person, and I put it as a private file on my channel, so you can't see it. It's unlisted, and I sent them the link, and they said, "Oh, interesting." And I thought, wow, I could do how the society has gone through these years using this same thing, and that's where it came from.
Okay, cool.
That's the
You know,
basis of it.
Yep. Oh, that's good. So those are some of the things you've done in your life. One of them's just you're working on it right this minute. What are some of the things that you and Sharon would like to do into the future?
I'd like to go on holiday again. I'd like to go abroad again.
Yep.
The thing is, you see these people, and right now the whole situation is so is on a knife edge all round, and you could say, yeah, we're booked to go to the Canary Islands where I lived, or to Cyprus where we got married, and then you could find lockdown and you have to come back and spend 14 days in a hotel or whatever, or going to quarantine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's and you get these people who fall into this situation, and when they get back, they're bitching, to the press. Oh, it's the risk you took. You should have factored that in, and I don't want to be in that situation. So probably we would go glamping, something like that in the UK, camping. We got dogs, so we'd like to take them as well. We got a young a young girl. No, she's quite old now. Actually, we got an old girl and a young lad who was rescued.
Yep.
They're lovely dogs. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So with everything that's gone on in your life, from 8 years old being in the J-Dubs and then coming out around 41, if somebody was in a similar situation to you, what bit of encouragement would you do if they were questioning? What would you say to them?
I would say question whether or not you are using intellectual dishonesty, because that is the biggest barrier. You hear the truth, but you won't accept it, come what may. So you make an excuse as to why you won't accept it, or you bury it and you carry, oh no, that's that, I'll carry on. And that is true in you could see it with QAnon. When everything fell apart and failed, and everything they were relying on happening didn't happen, the only way they could carry on believing was to somehow was to dismiss that, because that was the linchpin of their entire belief, what was going to happen on the inauguration. Everyone who carried on believing had to exercise some form of intellectual dishonesty, where they lied to themselves. Everything's okay. Everything went off as it would, or it's still going to happen. It takes a special kind of deceit, and we're all capable of it, and we all did it probably. When we were in the religion, and this is what keeps us sticking to things that we don't that aren't particularly good for us, beliefs of almost any kind.
So you would say question the beliefs?
Question the beliefs honestly. In actual fact, there's a guy I follow called Versatium, and he did an experiment with cognitive bias, and at the end he said something, an epithet, which I thought was really pithy. And he said, if you have a belief, try and prove it wrong. Try and find out why it's wrong. And if you can't, and if you can find no way of proving that it's wrong, then you found the truth.
Oh,
and
okay,
I thought that is fair enough. But they won't do that, because whilst it's a great, as I say, a great maxim, a great epithet, it falls apart against when it comes up against the barrier of this intellectual dishonesty. Oh dear, yes, it absolutely contradicts everything I believe, but I'm going to ignore it and cheat myself, and that is what it comes down to.
Fair enough too.
And I don't know as that advice could be passed to anyone.
Yeah.
In my instance, I think one of the reasons I was instantly turned was that when I was in my 20s, I became a programmer. And I learnt to program in what's called machine language. I don't know whether or not that it's really low level. It's right talking to the guts of the machine. So if it's wrong, your program's wrong, the machine will not come back. It's crashed forever. You reset the machine. So you have to be 100% accurate. And I thought, no matter how many times I run this program, it's going to crash until I make a change. And then I thought, isn't that true of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden? No matter how many times you put Adam and Eve in the same situation, same environment, same chemical makeup, same everything, they would sin again. And I mentioned this, and someone said, no, they had free will. And I said, yes, but their free will made them go this way. It would happen again like that every time, because that's how programs run. And this paradigm, I mean, there were no other programmers I met that I could explain this as analogous to what I thought about this, but it did stick with me, and it stuck with me, and I think it was a big problem, and it was unsolved, and it was unsolvable. If they sinned, and you produced exactly the same environment, same brain chemistry, same person, same situation, nothing changed at all, they would do it again. Free will be buggered. It was always going to happen, and nobody could satisfactorily countermand that or explain why I was wrong in my thinking. So that one stuck. But again, I was dishonest enough to say, well, I'll just, that's all right. I'll leave that. But obviously somewhere along the line, because it was something, it was a Jenga, it was one of those Jenga bricks waiting to be pulled out.
And the rest came tumbling down.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Yeah.
Well, you've had certainly a lot happen in your recent life with all the productions and everything that has happened in your life. Are you glad you took the step to get away from the Jehovah's Witnesses?
You mean, am I glad they chucked me out?
Well, yeah, even though they chucked you out, you still had to appear.
I still decided not to go back, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. In actual fact, there were elders who came round here on an unrelated matter. I wanted to talk to them about something else that was not related to me.
Yeah.
And one of the elders came round this house because I was talking about the situation. And the first thing he said was, after we'd finished, he said, let me just finish with a scripture. And I said, look, please don't, please, because I know what the scripture will be. It'll be a Return to Jehovah scripture. And really, really, I know all the scriptures. I know what it's all about. So I'd rather you didn't. And he said, okay, I hear you. But I'm going to anyway. And I thought, this is my house. If I came in your house and said, I'd like to read you some apostate literature, and he said, no, don't. And I said, well, I'm going to anyway. I'd get kicked out. But he thought that was acceptable. And I thought, nothing's changed. That is such arrogance. That is such hubris. It angered me so much. How dare he,
Oh, well, you don't have to take it anyway now.
No. I see him sometimes because he's local. I was talking to my wife on the park the other day, and I think he'd be horrified if he found out. Because at that time I was Pomey. I still believed it. But he would be horrified if he found the extent of my activist work that I've done on YouTube and the comedy sketches and the songs which I've written for it. Yeah, he'd be horrified.
So you seem to be happy all the time.
Yeah.
Is that the case, or do you have periods where you go back and you think, oh?
No,
No?
I can honestly say I'm not melancholy in the least. No, no,
What's melancholy? Just so that
melancholy,
yeah.
miserable, sad,
Okay.
downcast. It's nothing to do with melons or collies. Just to,
Well, that'd make a good fry up.
yes, and yeah, I am. I think my wife finds me. I'd like to think she finds me perpetually happy. I sing a lot around the house. And I've always got a song in my head. Yeah,
Yep. Is that one
yeah.
you've just made up or just heard or
Just lately, I've been revisiting. I wrote a second musical,
oh did you?
which is still in abeyance. I'm still holding on to it because there's a couple of songs I still feel I ought to write. But I listened to it three or four times, and I listened to the song and said, "Do you know that is a really, really? If this was in the charts, I'd buy it." You know, and I think to myself, that is a really, really good song. And
Yeah.
yes, so I've been listening to those every now and again because I wrote it about 18 months, 2 years ago, and I go back to every now and again. I think, how was that song again? And because you forget them. But yeah, my wife and I very happy. We play 3 games each evening. We have a game we play on board game, well, tile game, and we play that every evening, 3 games, and then we do crosswords every lunchtime, and we go quizzing. We love quizzing. We do a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
quizzing. Yeah, we're
Yep.
pretty good at general knowledge, and also I occasionally get asked to take the quiz, so I have to write all the questions and all the table rounds, and I'm the only one who does a music quiz as well. I will then take 10 bits of music
Yep.
that have a common theme, like there might be a name in it, like oh goodness me, I'm trying to think of a song with a name in it. Me, you, and a dog named Boo, or something like that. So I might take a section of that song and say what is the name of what name appears in the title of this song, and they then have to write their answers down as part of the thing. But yeah, I do a quiz. I've done 2 this year since we came out of lockdown.
Yep. Yep. Where do you get your creativity from? With the amount of the different things you've done and were doing when you were in the J Dubs, where did you get your creativity from?
I think I don't really know. I would if I was to if I was because not my parents. My dad was a good carpenter. He could, in fact, he could turn his hand to a lot of things. Musically, though, he wasn't, but he was a good writer. But I think, all in all, I think it comes from the fact that I've never thought that I couldn't do it.
Right.
So I, I mean, I didn't think that I couldn't write a musical. I knew I could write a musical, so I wrote one, and and it turned out to be okay. I went into a house and there was no central heating, and my wife said, "Oh, my ex-wife said we'll have to get a plumber." I said, "I'll do it." You ever done one before? No, I'll get a book out the library, and I did it
Yeah. Yeah.
because not not because I thought I could do it, but because I didn't think I couldn't do it. It never occurred to me I was not going to be able to do it, so I did it, and things like that.
Yeah.
I'll try it, and I think I've tried. Oh, I'll try this and I'll try that. Yeah, I can do that. Why not? People can do it, and I think probably that's true for a lot of us. We've just never tried. We've just never tried to have a go at
Yeah.
it. Something creative and like try making a dress. You might be an excellent seamstress, but you don't know. All these things. My wife's very creative. She is an excellent seamstress, and she's brilliant at knitting. Does some superb work. Makes bags and wall hangers. Terrific. Terrifically talented in that respect.
Yeah. So just going back to your writing and things like that, um, I know a lot of former J Dubs would like to write. They're a little bit scared. So would that same principle of give it a try
Yes,
be the way to go? Or
I generally think it depends. If you're doing it for yourself, then okay. If you're doing it as a means of income, you have to face the hard facts that there are a lot of writers out there that never make it, And unless you have something extraordinarily different or you're extraordinarily talented, you needn't necessarily crack it. You could get few sales. And in actual fact, I didn't go into it commercially, but I wrote a novel a few years back.
Okay.
There was, yeah. Shortly after I met Sharon, and we went, her daughter-in-law belonged to a thing called NaNoWriMi or something like that. But it's November, write a novel in November. And you
Yep.
write 1,500 words a day. And, you know, and it took me till January, but I didn't stop. And I got this sort of 70,000 word novel. And I put it on, I put it on Amazon
Oh, okay.
Kindle. It's a Kindle download. And I don't expect it to be published or to do very well. It was for myself.
Yeah.
I knew I could write one, but I didn't think I could sell one. Does that make some more sense? I knew I could
Yep.
write a novel, and it's not bad. I think it's quite good. I don't think it's extraordinary, but I don't think it would sell necessarily. So I'm not bothered. You know, I did it for my enjoyment, and the challenge. Can I write a novel? Yes, I can. And I did it.
What would you love to do in the future then? So just you've done all these things. What's one thing that you've thought about that you haven't achieved yet that you would like to?
A comedy series. I'd like to write a comedy series,
For
and for
TV?
oh yeah, a comedy
Netflix?
series for TV. Possibly Netflix. I've got an in at the BBC, and I may try that. I've got one that I wrote. I've written, which I've got to bring up to scratch and then present this year. There's a small window when they'll accept things in between December and January. I did it last year and I failed. You know, it's okay. I can handle rejection well. I've got enough rejection letters to wallpaper a mansion, so it doesn't. It's water off a duck's back. You know, sometimes you're successful, sometimes you aren't. I got radio plays published. I didn't get plays published. It's okay. But I would like to write a comedy series. Yes.
And what would that be? You know, the subject. Is there a building? Is there a workplace, a musical, or anything like that with the underlying theme?
No, well, I tell you because I've already written it. Now, just a brief
Okay.
summary. It's about it's looking quite cynically, I'm afraid, to what may be a problem in the near future, and that is in England there could be unemployment. Okay, and I think that could apply to a lot of the world, where companies have not survived the pandemic and have gone under and people are out of work. Now, last time this happened in the 90s when there was a downturn, there were a lot of job clubs, and you went there and they provided stamps, they provided backup, blah de blah blah, and I thought this may come again. So it's about a job club and one man's experiences, and each week there's a new person in the job club, but he's in contact with a girl that he really fancies, but she's ditched her last boyfriend because he's out of work. So he's trying to carry on this relationship whilst pretending that he's not out of work.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a bit more complicated, but that's basically how that story goes. And as I say, I've finished it, but I think I need to rewrite the start of it.
Okay.
But I'm quite happy with what I've got in there so far.
Somebody's just said they love your YouTube channel. Maybe you'd like to tell us where your YouTube channel can be found by telling us the name.
It's Bite Your Bum Hard. It's in fact, if you hang on. Okay.
Oh, okay, so that's the QR code.
That's a QR code.
Yep.
It's got the Bunker Brothers in the middle. I don't think
Yep.
Stuart will mind. But it'll take you to Bite Your Bum Hard, BITEYERBUMHARD. And if you look for that, you should find me.
Sure.
And the songs and the script and the skits, yeah.
And everything you've done is up on your channel.
Everything I've done is up on the channel except for the synesthesia one, which is not
Yep.
public.
No, that's fine. So
If anyone wants to see it, I'm quite happy. It's not private. It's just that it would be a silly thing to put out there for general consumption. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, Grant, thank you very much for being here. It's been very entertaining. It's great to see that after leaving the J-Dubs, you've done things. You haven't sat there and dwelt on them, and you're carrying on. You're living your life.
I am, yeah. I'm really very happy now. I think happier now than I've been at any time in my life, yes.
That's such great news.
Yeah.
It's nice to see it on your face. You can hear in your voice the passion you have for your kids and your wife and everything that you're doing. So well done. Good on you.
Thank you very much.
And we look forward to seeing that comedy come to be putting on the TV sometime.
Yeah, you and me both.
Well, thanks for being here. And for those who've been watching, thanks for being here with us and putting the comments up. If we've missed some of them, we do apologise. But if you'd like to reach out to Grant, what's the best way for people to get hold of you, Grant?
They can get hold of me at if they can email me if you like. It's Grant at gbdavis.com, and it's Davis without an E. So it's Grant at gbdavis.com, and they can email me on that, and I would gladly ignore it.
Alrighty. Well, thanks once again for being here. Thanks for everybody in the audience. For those who are watching,
guys.
For those who will watch later, by all means, put any questions in the question area or the comment area, and we'll make sure Grant finds them and answers them for you. But until our next live stream, which is coming up this weekend, we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for being here. But in the meantime, look after yourselves, keep safe, and until then, bye for now. And we hope you have a great day and enjoying your life. Bye for now.